Okay, so we are now in a 1967 Porsche 912, and we're gonna take it for a little drive. All right, so that was our little climb up to the top of the ridge of our favorite little driving road here. And I have to say, I am such a horsepower guy and a 911 unapologetic. I prefer the bigger car, but this 912 is without question the most entertaining four-cylinder Porsche I have ever driven. And I've driven a bunch of 944s. This car is almost completely original. As a 67, it's showing 9,000 something miles. Anyway, the car has its original paint. It's got its original interior. A previous owner rebuilt the motor and put bigger carbs and some headers on it, and then just slightly worked the chassis. The car rides firm, but it's not too stiff. It's very responsive. It's very precise on turn-in, especially when you consider the age of this car. It's extremely tight. The chassis is very rigid. And like I said, the suspension is firm on the road, but it's really responsive. And this is a sports car that you're just gonna have a blast getting after a back road on. You can literally dip this into a turn and then just keep leaning on it and leaning on it and leaning on it. And it just continues to hold the line and respond back to everything you ask it to do. The motor is very, very peppy. It's really surprising. It's a stock and numbers matching 1600cc motor, but I'm guessing this car is making easily over 100 horsepower. We're probably talking somewhere in that 110 to 120 range without question. The exhaust sounds great, but it's not too loud. And this 901 dogleg gearbox is just fantastic. One of the nicest ones I've ever used. It's very easy to find the gear, although I did miss a gear back there going up the hill, but that was me, not the transmission. I'm embarrassed how much I really like this car and just think it's amazing. 912s have been moving in the right direction, and what more could you possibly want? As a 67, we're still on the short wheelbase, but we've got the new, the three main gauges with the tack in the front. We've got the aluminum inlay that's in spectacular condition on the dash. The dash itself is perfect. There's no cracks, there's no waves in it. We've even got a little set of cocoa mats in here. I don't know if you can see that. I am just beside myself how much I'm enjoying this car. Super responsive, super fun to drive. And you know, when you consider the price of long hood 911s, this winds up being a very entertaining, very rewarding value for the money. And I'm really in love with this car. So there you go, 1967 912, the nicest one I have ever driven. And I worked for Porsche. I've driven a bunch of these, but none of them drive and handle and are as quiet, and as there's a sense of security in this car as we're leaning on it that is not common in this model. So many of these things have been left outside and beat up. This one has been cared for its entire life. This is an incredible car. So anyway, there you go, 1967 Porsche 912.